We are today going to announce 10, I think it's 10, maybe 11 commissioners in various departments. We've been making evaluations and judgments about the teams at the senior level throughout the administration, and want to bring that to a close, at least at the senior level, by the end of this month. And in the case of DSS, I will say I think Harry Spence has had a very, very tough job, and has done that job well. It's you know, in some ways it's the kind of assignment where you never get the credit you're due, because it can never be perfect, or it's very hard for it to be. I have given the cabinet secretaries the latitude and the authority to decide how they want to compose their, obviously subject to approval, but to decide how they want to compose their teams. It's very important to me that we have people who are pulling in the same direction, that we have teams who share the vision we campaigned on and that we're governing for, and Secretary Bigby feels that in the case of DSS and in the case of a couple of other commissioners there, it's time for change. So I honor Harry's work and his service and his leadership. We expect today to announce that Angelo McLean will be the new commissioner for DSS, and Harry has pledged to make it a smooth and dignified transition. And Angelo brings a depth of experience and a national reputation to the role. So we're hopeful. But it's not. I just want to emphasize, it's a part of a. It's not just about Harry. It's not just about DSS, if you will. It's about building our team throughout the government.
What changes do you see in DSS that you would like? What would you like to see done that is not being done or has not historically been done?
Well, it's not, as I said, about what's not been done. It's what I'd like to see is as many of the resources as DSS has focused on kids, and not so much in the management. In other words, that you look at something like DCR, for example, and this is something we are finding in various places in the government. You look at DCR. What DCR needs are people on the ground. It has a very broad band of middle managers, and a comparatively thin band of people who are actually out, you know, running the mowers and picking up the trash and fixing the rest areas and stuff like that. And I think we have to think about DSS that way. There's a huge demand for service. There are some different kinds of service also that we need at DSS. Dr. Bigby, Secretary Bigby, has made the point, for example, that we need on-staff resources for second medical opinions for kids who are at risk. She's put that in place, by the way. She can be, I'm sure, more articulate about how she sees the needs than I have been. But obviously, we want to get as much.
So, are you looking at more social workers on the field, smaller caseloads?
All of that has to be on the table. I mean, I hear from social workers all the time when I'm out about how extreme their caseloads are.
Any plans to increase the number, or find ways to increase the number of foster homes?
Maybe, but I think in fairness to the new commissioner, we ought to wait for him to get in the job and do his own assessment, and then take his counsel.